we're going to read the pasuk out loud, 13:3, and we're going to notice that we're going to notice the nasoga chor and the word haya between the sentence of bein beitel, the phrase, is going to stand out by itself. Uvein ha'ai, and where it's going to lead to eventually is going to be separated out from that. Vayelech lemasav minegev via beitel ad hamakom asher haya sham aholo batchila bein beit el uvein ha'ai. And we're going to continue on the bottom of page 28, 13:4. El mekom, to a place of, number 1. Wherever Avram went, he always came to a place of the same shape of the skies, and he deduced that the supervision of God is spread out all over the world in the same way, as indicated by the directional shape of the reading mark. So as he looks up, because the pashta is on top of the word, as he's looking up and forwards, he is always seeing the same influence of God on the world. So that is sort of the part of the secret of this name Makom for God, that he has influence everywhere in the world. Whatever place you are, he's there in his own way.
He looks at the crowd, and the crowd says God was here.
Hamizbeach, the altar, with the 2-part katon note on it. The acceptance of universal heavenly rule was reciprocated by sacrificing his earthly pleasures and conveniences. Moreover, he instructed his future generations to deal likewise by the symbol of the altar, giving up momentary enjoyments for the sake of eternity, as pointed out by the bipartite shape of the reading mark. You give your cow for now, but you have the satisfaction of having pleased heaven. So both a lower and a higher sense coming out of it. And certainly, if this is a sacrifice that you are going to eat part of it, you get some enjoyment, but you get more spiritual merit. Okay, and again, we have another nasoga chor here. Asher asa. It's not Asher asa, but again, the next word, number 4, is sham, single syllable word. So the mercha on Asher asa is pushed backwards. And again, we'll see what that means. We have a munach, which is a mercha, which is lightly tied to what's come from before, but mostly moving us forward to what's going to go afterwards. By the fact that he made the altar sometime before and returned to it again, he summarized the past, present, and future, as shown by the directional shape of the reading mark. So Avram is going to be connected to what he had made at the first place where he had been connected, and he's going to move that forward into everything that he's going to do. And again, we're talking about him moving back to his first influence, and that again is consistent with a note that is nachog achor, that is pushed backwards.
How is that consistent with nachog achor?
Because Avram is going to take his very first, every influence that he's had, coming back to even the first influence that he's had, so number 3, sometime before, and return to it again. He summarized the past, the present, and the future. So he's going to take everything that he had from the beginning, and he's not going to leave a thing out. So you've got to start at the very beginning, and you're going to connect it, and you're going to drag it all forward into what's. So that's why it's all pushed back to the very beginning. Because what he's done from everything, he's not going to leave a single thing out. So 2 back to the very beginning. Sham, there, number 4. The result of Avram's reflection, which occurred there, was broadened on a larger scale, such that the history of the world was established at that time of its physical creation, as stressed by the closing shape of the reading mark. And Tifcha is always a backwards-looking note, and I'm trying with this phrasing to see if he is saying Sham there is going all the way back to Breshit, or whether it's going back to Avram's appreciation of the things that he's experienced, going back to his first point of influence. And I'm not sure. I'm just, when I looked at the text the first couple of times that I looked through it, I sort of said, okay, he's going all the way back to Breshit with this Tipcha, and it is within the note's power to do that. So, Barishona, at first, with the stabilizing etnachta. Number 5, even all the happenings of distant times were foreseen at first establishment. Barishona, Breshit bara. So, first establishment. So where's the first establishment? Breshit. And conditioned to occur in the future as denoted by the stabilizing shape of the reading mark. So Avram is basically going to, at some point, mimic all of what's come from the beginning of creation, and he's going to pass that forward into the world as it goes beyond from him. And his influence from Barishanav, recognizing that God is the God of creation, is going to be his stability and his upwards focus. And he called Vayikra with a mercha, lightly connected to what's come from before, but mostly reaching forward into what's going to come afterwards. He reached old and recent heavenly wonder, and he called them details of a great master plan, which emerged after having been anticipated long before, as suggested by the directional shape of the reading mark. And again, I was trying to see where he was going with this, especially with the idea of master plan that had been anticipated long before. And the question is, are we talking about the midrash here that says God looked into Torah and created the world? So was there the concept of you were going to plan a world around this basic concept of revelation, and then you were going to build the world based on that blueprint? So is that what he's talking about, the master plan that was anticipated long before? That Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, God who was reigning even before any of the creations were created. So he has this plan of what he's going to do, and then the plan comes to fruition and the thing gets created. So again, I think we're really moving back to Breshit, and maybe even before that. Vayikra Sham, the number 7 with severe, with a sheltered note on it. Avram reasoned that whatever happens at a certain place in time, there were provided the conditions to take place at a time when circumstances would be favorable, even though for spectators it seemed genuine and unrelated to any expectations, as expressed by the shape of the reading mark. So what we're trying to express here is that everything that you see, everything that happens, has an influence of God the Creator creating that moment in it. So we're getting really basic philosophic ideas coming here, and when we're getting the idea of Avram appreciating the creation from the beginning and trying to instill that knowledge into the world.
Well, it makes sense also tears there because it's hidden. Right? So God's purpose of what's supposed to happen is hidden until the right conditions come about, the best time and space, whatever. And then it comes out, and now you understand in the rearview mirror what's going on. Like he could easily have asked, why did I have to go to Egypt and why that whole travail? Now I get it.
Sof Maaseh v'machshavat Chinam. The end that of what happens was already there in the original thought. Avram with the Tipcha. This is focusing us backwards and pausing slightly after it. Avram saw in his own presence a small instrument in contributing to a certain fact, which should have been prepared in his time, as referred backwards by the directional shape of the reading note. So Avram is taking his place and bringing what's happened before into the world now, even though he saw that certainly others should have done it up until this point. He's taking responsibility and doing it at this point. That's why you see him, and then you pause. He's taking everything from before, and you pause afterwards because he's the significant one in the world now. B'Shem, by name, with a mercha, so this is lightly connected to what's come from before, but moving us forward to what's going to go afterwards. Only by name were some functions attributed to his personality. In reality, however, he assessed himself as a minor factor in a great undertaking in the course of history, as indicated by the directional shape of the reading note. So even though in the last word, Avram, with the tipcha, we were saying Avram is the important one in this generation, Avram is saying, no, I'm part of God's plan, I'm somebody who's small. So he's putting God's name higher than himself. So he's again showing humility by this phraseology and by the fact that going forward, Avram is not going to take any of the credit, even though the tipcha in his name before was giving him the credit. Hashem, of God, number 10, with the stabilizing sof pasuk, Avram saw in the presence and wish of God the master and conductor of all phenomena. So Avram is seeing God's hand in all of creation, and again trying to pass along that message. As we read through the sentence, we're again going to notice the altar as being the makom hamizbeach. That phrase is going to stand by itself. So the altar is a way to show your appreciation of God's presence. We're going to notice the nasoga choran asher asa. That's going to be pushed back. Everything from the very beginning, Avram is going to think that everything that happened to him is important. Barishona, the word at first, the creation in and of itself is going to stand by itself. Vayikrasham, and Avram is going to call out there. That's going to again stand out separate from Avram, who seems to have importance, but no, he's going to negate himself with the last phrase, B'Shem Hashem. He's going to negate his importance by having God's name, in fact, stand out and shine above his. El Mekom Hamizbeach Asher Asa Sham Barishona Vayikra Sham Avram B'Shem Hashem. And I think this is actually a natural place to pause, so I think we're going to stop here for this class, because now we're going to get into a different English.
Thank you.
Different what?
A different matter.
Oh. Yeah,
Shkaya.